I'm about to show you something that's been hiding inside some words you've probably used your entire life. What do the words focus, perfume, and even phlegm have in common? At first glance, absolutely nothing. But once you discover the hidden connection between them, you'll never hear those words the same way again. Recently, the smoke from wildfires in northern Canada drifted into my area, probably your area as well, darkening the skies and filling the air. The world took on an eerie, almost apocalyptic look, and that got me wondering whether fire had left its mark as well on our language, the English language. As I started looking into it, I discovered something I never expected. Some of the most common words we use still carry ancient traces of fire and smoke, hidden in plain sight. Here at Wise to the Words, we uncover the hidden stories behind the words we use every day. So let's get wise to the words.
I'm on fire. No, literally. Oh. Whoa. It's hot.
We will start with the word focus. What does focus have to do with fire? More than you think. Now, imagine living in ancient Rome. Every day begins and ends around the hearth, the fireplace. It cooks your food, it warms your home, and it brings your family together. I was surprised to learn that the Romans called this fireplace, this hearth, by the word focus. Centuries later, scientists borrowed the word for the point where light converges. So imagine a magnifying glass concentrating sunlight until it becomes hot enough to ignite a fire. And from there, focus came to mean a center of activity, then a center of your attention, and eventually the act of concentrating your mind. So every time someone tells you to focus, they're unknowingly using a word that once referred, in ancient Rome, to the fire at the center of your home. It's interesting. Now the next word is brand. Imagine you're a rancher with hundreds of cattle grazing on the open range, but your neighbors have hundreds of cattle as well. When all the herds mingle together, how do you prove which animal belongs to you? Well, you heat an iron until it's glowing red, and then you press it against the animal's hide, leaving a permanent mark. Today, we call that a brand. But here's the surprising part. In Old English, a brand wasn't the mark left behind or even the hot iron. It was the fire itself, a burning piece of wood, a blazing torch. Over time, the word shifted from the fire to the hot iron heated by that fire, and then to the mark it left behind. Eventually, in the modern age, companies borrowed the same idea. A brand became the identifying mark that told you who made something and distinguished it from everyone else. Brand. Firebrand. Now the next word is kindle. Imagine it's a cold night and your campfire is almost out. The logs are still there, the larger ones, but the flames are dying. So you gather some dry twigs and tinder and you coax a tiny spark into the flame. And before long, the fire is roaring again. That's exactly what kindle originally meant. Around the year 1200, English borrowed a word from a Scandinavian source akin to the Old Norse, hunda, meaning to set fire to or to light a fire. So if you kindled something, you weren't speaking metaphorically. It literally meant to set fire to. Old English had another word for lighting a fire, tendon, meaning basically to kindle. That same root gives us tinder, the dry material used to catch a spark and get a fire started. And yes, that's also where the dating app Tinder gets its name. Even the flame in its logo is about starting a spark. Most of the time you get burned. But kindle didn't stay around the campfire for long. By around 1300, people were already kindling things like hope, courage, curiosity, and love. And we're still using that metaphor today. Amazon named its e-reader the Kindle because books can kindle curiosity and imagination. So a word that meant literally starting a fire now describes starting something, a flame inside your mind. Now the next word is flamboyant. If someone is flamboyant, you probably picture someone who's bold and colorful and theatrical, impossible to ignore. But originally, flamboyant didn't describe people at all, and this shocked me. It described Gothic architecture. In the 1800s, art historians used the word for an elaborate style of late Gothic architecture, especially the flowing stone tracery around windows. And you'll see in the picture here, the curves twisted and curled like flames carved into the stone, which is exactly where the name came from. Flamboyant comes from the French and meaning flaming or blazing, flambe meaning flame, which ultimately traces back to the Latin flamma, also meaning flame. And here's a quick word, the word ardent. An ardent fan or an ardent lover is someone intensely passionate, but the word comes from the Latin ardere meaning to burn, and ardentum meaning burning, glowing, fiery, or ablaze. And here's a word that I definitely didn't expect, phlegm. What could phlegm possibly have to do with fire? The word comes from the ancient Greek phlegma, meaning a burning or inflammation, to burn. The ancient Greeks often associated inflammation with heat and burning. And since inflammation, when you're sick, it often produces mucus, the word gradually shifted from describing the burning itself to describing the mucus that came with it. Gross. That's a phlegm. And lastly, let's leave fire behind and follow its closest companion, smoke. After all, where there's smoke, there's fire. One of the most surprising descendants of smoke, as it were, is the word perfume. It comes from the Latin perfumum, literally meaning through smoke. In the ancient world, fragrant woods and herbs and resins were often burned, so their sweet aroma traveled through the smoke. Over time, the word came to describe the pleasant scent itself rather than the smoke that carried it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden meanings behind everyday words, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments below what kind of words you'd like me to explore next, what theme. Until next time, stay wise to the words.